and welcome to this demo. This is a demo of LoveAdmin, and we have the lovely Dave, who is the owner of LoveAdmin, here to take you through everything, hopefully, that you need or want to know about LoveAdmin and how it can help you and your dance school. So I'm going to hand over the reins to Dave. If you have any questions in the meantime, pop them in the comments and we'll keep an eye on those, and we'll do a question and answer session at the end. So Dave, I'm going to take it over to you. I'm going to unmute you. That's it, and I'm going to mute myself.
Good, thanks, Sam. I'm just going to share my screen as well. If you give a thumbs up, you can see my screen. All good? Brilliant. Okay, so first of all, thanks, Sam, for giving us this opportunity to show your followers. Makes you sound like some kind of a religious cult, but your followers LoveAdmin. So just to give you a bit of background about LoveAdmin, we've been going for 10 years now, and we help about 1,000 organisations across the UK manage their administration, so reducing it and at the same time increasing their income. So as I say, 10 years we've been going, but for the last couple of years, we've been working on a brand new version of LoveAdmin. So everything that we learned over the years that perhaps we didn't manage to shoehorn into the older version of LoveAdmin. So what you'll see today is all of those learnings and hopefully a way of, or a new way of managing your administration and your payments. You'll see how we can easily manage our attendance. If you run an award scheme or a curriculum of learning, we'll look at that as well. And also how you can track every penny paid and owed in the system to make sure that you collect more money than you ever have done. So, all right. What you see here is what you would see when you log into your LoveAdmin account. So this is your administrative portal. So the blue tiles are what you would see on be using on a day-to-day basis, and behind the orange tile is what we use, are the settings that we configure to automate a lot of your administration. And when I say we're based down in Brighton. We have a team here. We're about 25 strong now, and we have an onboarding team that work with you to set your account up, train you, and provide that ongoing support. And then here you'll see another button that says join in, which is your shop. Now, LoveAdmin might mean something to you guys who do admin, but might not love it, but means absolutely nothing to Maisie's mum, who's booking her in for the next term. So we've created this generic brand. It's called Join In. So the parents will have a join in account, and it might be that they have a join-in account for your dance school, but it might be also that the child goes to gymnastics or might do, I don't know, go to a football club. So they just have that one join-in account, and they can port their information into the various clubs and activities that they go in. So I'm going to click into this, and this will launch your online shop. So we provide you an online shop. So kind of think e-commerce, where you're going to sell your different classes and the different services that you provide. But you can also sell things like merchandise if you have membership, whether you do any private lessons, whether you do holiday camps, whether you do birthday parties. You can sell it all via the online shop, and you can customize this. I say you, actually we do that for you. We have an in-house designer that works with you to design your shop. That's all part of the service, and they just create the shop so it takes on the look and feel of your organization. So just by having this shop that's linked from your website instantly brings that level of professionalism up, certainly if you haven't already got a system in place like this. Okay, so I'm going to click into one of the classes, and I guess just before I do that, just to think about the three main ways that we find dance schools operate. You'll find dance schools have, they'll either be working on a termly basis, they'll either be working on a monthly basis, or they'll be working on a pay-as-you-go basis. So our system can do all of that and more. So I'm going to click into this street dance here, and I can see I've got sessions running on a Monday, on a Wednesday, and a Friday, and a Saturday. And I can filter by type of class and location as well if you're running out multiple locations. I'm going to click into this Monday session here. So this top tile here just gives me some summary information. And if I click into that, I can see, okay, this is where it is. If there was a description, if you want to put a more detailed description in here, you can put it behind this tab here. I can then select trials. So if you guys offer a trial, you can do that via the system. So a paid for trial or free trial. And there's some nice functionality that sits behind that, which I'll touch upon a little bit more, but further down the road. But basically, pre-trial, it will notify people that their trial's up. Come in, post-trial, it will say, hey, how was it? Did you enjoy the session? Click here. Click here to sign up for the rest of the term, and it will save their space for a period of time. So they can sign up for a trial, or if I click on schedule, they can just buy, for this case, for the rest of the term. So let's click on trial. So I can see here it's £10 for that, what we call the calendar entry, the class. I can see that we've got discounts available as well. So within the system, we can set up your discount strategies. Typically for dance schools, it is sibling discount or it's multi-attendance. So whatever your discount strategy is. We have other discount strategies like discount codes, early bird discounts, I think 2 or 3 others, but those are the most common ones. Okay, so from here I can come in and I can select when I want to come along to the trial. Now here it's only looking forward by looks like a week, but you can determine how far forward you want to allow people to book into a trial. If I click on schedule, again, it looks like I've only said you can only book 1 week in advance, but you might extend it out to 30 days. So if that was the case, then a drop down of multiple dates would appear for them to sign up for. And then I would just come in here and go, okay, well, actually, I'm going to start on this date and I'm going to buy it for a child or a dependent, and I'm going to add it to the basket. That's it. That's the registration process. Sorry, that's the start of the registration process. Once they've added it to the basket and assuming they're not going to go and buy anything else, then they complete the registration process by, first of all, creating that join-in account. And we just ask for basic information, which is name, contact information. But then you guys might want to ask questions over and above that. So it might be, do you have any previous dance experience? Have you been a member of another dance school? How did you hear about us? Whatever you want to ask. There might also be some stuff around consents, medical consent, photography consent. So any other information that you want to gather, you can gather at the point of registration, so the system can be configured to do that. Okay, so that's signing up for a class that runs on a termly basis with a trial. If I want to do that for a class that runs on a monthly basis, so this one runs on a Tuesday, click in here, and again, you can see there's the option for trial. You don't have to have the trial, it just happens that these classes have got that enabled. Here, I'm going to select month, and again, you can define the starting times. 10th of May tells me it's £70 a month, and again, I can choose who that's for. We do have pro ratering in the system as well, so if I register partway through a term or I register partway through a month, the system will calculate how many sessions left in that billing period, i.e. for the rest of the month or the rest of the term, and it will charge them accordingly. And at the moment, these options that I'm registering for are set up to take payment at the point of registration, but it might be that you let them come along just for 2 or 3 sessions first before committing. So you can actually set it up where you don't take payment at the point of registration. A couple of other things to show you in the shop. So merchandise, you can sell merchandise through here as well. So if I want to go and buy some tap shoes, I can do that here. You can upload multiple pictures of your merchandise, add who you're buying it for. There's some stock control behind the scenes as well, so you can set your stock levels and you can just simply add that to the basket. You can also run your well, not so typical for dance schools memberships. Some do, many don't, but if you do, then I can come in here, I can select my membership, and you can define, it might be your membership runs, I don't know, from September through to end of August, or it might be actually your membership runs from the day in which you sign up. And it might be that you tie things into your membership. Okay, I'm going to charge you a £30 membership fee, but you get a free water bottle and a drawstring bag. What else we got going on here? So private lessons or pay-as-you-go sessions works principally the same. So I can come in here and go, okay, I want to book myself into these sessions here. So you can multi-select, and that will just say, okay, that's £25 per calendar entry. I'm going to add that to the basket, and it will just go 3 times that. It will give you the price in your checkout. And a couple of other things to show you. Workshops. So it might be, as in this case here, this is a 5-day workshop that starts on the 16th of May. It's £120. It might be that you run a workshop that's going across the half term. So it might be Monday through to Friday, and people can either buy individual days, or they can buy the week, or they can buy the morning, the afternoon. They can do early morning drop off, late afternoon pickup. However you want to slice and dice it, the system can manage that for you. And then lastly, what have we got in here? Birthday parties. So if you do birthday parties, people can book that via the system. So I can see here I've got a couple of slots on Saturday, the 10th of May, one starting at 9:30, one starting at 2 o'clock. I can come in here and I can purchase that as well. So pretty comprehensive. It should cover pretty much every scenario that you've got and everything that you want to sell. But if you didn't see anything in there that you'd like to see, then pop that into the chat, and we can come back to that. All right, so I'm now just going to go back to the administrative login. So this is what you see when you're using the system, and I'm going to go into the timetable here. So the timetable is going to give you a view of what you've got going on across the month. So you can see the different sessions that we've got running today, for example. And if I expand this out here, I can filter that based on the different things that I've got running. So if I want to say, okay, well, just show me all street dance sessions. Okay, I can filter on that. Or show me the advanced ones or the beginner ones. So you can really be specific and get into the information that you want to see. But I'm going to select, let's just select everything here. Around. Okay, so here I can see I've got a session running at 5 o'clock later on. I've got 6 people in that session. It's my contemporary class on a Wednesday. If I click into that, I see my participants. So these are the people that are going to be coming along. And then from here, I guess first thing to talk about is the attendance register. So I know you guys will typically spend a fair chunk of time at the beginning of term producing your registers for the coming weeks. LoveAdmin, it just happens automatically. So as soon as I set up the schedule for my class, the system automatically just builds that attendance register for you. So when I click on attendance, you can see here that some icons have appeared, and this just tells me if there was any medical issues, if there was any issues around payments, if there's any notes that have been left. So you as main administrators can leave notes for your instructors. So it might be that the grandparents are picking up the kid after school, for example. That's not after school, after their class. And if there's any issue around photography consent. And if you want to jump in and look at more detailed information here about Camilla, for example, I can click on here and I can see this is Camilla's information. This is the account owner, which will typically be the parent. I can see any medical issues, any emergency contacts, any siblings, any consents that they've signed up for, any additional registration information. So we talked earlier on about when they set up, they have a join-in account. We ask them basic information. You guys can ask them more information. That information is exposed here. Any internal data you want to keep about them, any notes that have been written. Financial info, so what they've been invoiced for, what they paid, what's outstanding, any comms that have gone out, so what was sent, what was open, click, bounce, etc. Their attendance history. If you run an award scheme or a development program, what they've been working on, what they've achieved, etc. And any membership info if that's relevant. So if you've got people, if you've got instructors that are working remotely, I know if I think back to my coaching days, it wasn't dance, but it was coaching. I'd often forget my clipboard that had the information with the kids' information in. Here, the coaches and the instructors are going to have that in their pocket on their phone. And I could just come in here. I can go select, and then I can record attendance. I can say they're missing, they're ill, they arrived late, they're on holiday, or they're injured. And it might be that you run a large dance school, and actually you've got all these classes running at the same time. Now, it actually happens that I only got 6 people in there and no people in there. But let's say you had 50 people and you wanted to take a register for everybody that's coming in that time slot. I can select all classes and then I can view all participants at the same time, and I can just record them as they're coming through the door. We also have some other neat functionality where actually you can, we have a QR scanner. So we can launch that QR scanner and people can beep themselves in, but it tends to work better maybe for the older kids, less so for the little. Just go back into the session. A couple of other things that you can do from here. So we talked about recording attendance. We can communicate. So it might be that you need to reach out to your participants for any reason. Come in here, send a message, and you can just write them a quick message and send that. You can save templates. So if it's something that maybe you repeat yourself more than once, you can save a template for that. We do have SMS and WhatsApp also built into the system. There is a cost associated to that. It's actually not available right now, simply because we haven't built the front end component that allows you to purchase the credits for it, but we do have that available. And I guess you would use email for general communications. You'd use SMS and WhatsApp if you're promoting a service. So it might be a holiday camp or it might be some merchandise, because we know people who receive an SMS or WhatsApp are much more likely to engage than an email. So yes, there's a cost associated to it, but if something costs, I don't know, pick a number, £1 and you get £2 back, then you don't mind spending that additional money. Not that the SMS costs £1, but you get the idea. So yeah, very easy to send out messages. If you have a big class and you need to go, okay, right, you guys over there go to Mary, you guys over there go to Instructor Bill, you can come up here and you can assign people to coaches. So when that coach is taking the register, they're only taking the register for the people that have been assigned to. Okay, development program. I'm going to actually have to switch accounts here. I'm just going to go to a gymnastics account because we've got the British Gymnastics award scheme in there, just to show you how that works. If you haven't already got an award scheme, it just might fire some ideas of potentially what you can do. If I click into here, so an award scheme is typically made up of levels and skills. So if I expand that out, this level 4, we've got skip for 30 seconds, we've got a frog balance, we've got hula hooping, and I can come in here and say, okay, everybody in this class is working on a frog balance, whatever that might be. So I can say they're either working on it, they've completed it, they've achieved it, or they didn't achieve it. And I can do that broadly across everybody just by clicking one button. Or if I want to be much more specific for each individual, I can then use the icons below. So it might be actually that Abraham here, he's actually achieved that. So I can mark it as being achieved. So, and then I can also filter on that. So if I want to say, okay, well, show me everybody that's working on this level or on this skill, I can do that and it will bring me back that information. So that's great for you guys in terms of all that information is in one place. There's no more paper forms and people marking off manually what they're working on, etc., and then type it up into a spreadsheet. But what's also very neat is that in what happens in the background, and that is as I'm pressing these buttons, there are messages going out to the parents saying, hey, Maisie is now working on this, or she's achieved that, or perhaps she didn't achieve that, but this is what she needs to practice to achieve it next time we come around and assess. So that information gets passed to the parent's online account. So the parent is always know, they always know what the child is working on. So it's a really neat and powerful tool. And it's really great from a communication perspective. If you've got 20 kids, in the class, you can't always speak to all the parents and let them know what they're working on. This is just a nice way of opening up those communication channels. And it's also supported by videos and images. So if I mark off that they're working on this skill, I can actually send a video of that skill to the parent's online account, and just to, so you can visualize of how that's set up. If I come over here, and I'll talk a little bit about monetization of this in a moment, but here you can see, here's the skills. You can upload an image of that skill, or you can put in a YouTube link to send them to the video of it. And in here, you can also mark off what they need to practice to achieve it next time. So it might be you don't have this at the moment. And you might be thinking, well, why do I need this? Sounds like more administration. But actually, if you think maybe from a monetization perspective, when they're achieving their levels and their skills, you then would have rewards in which they can purchase. So once you pass your level 3, you qualify to, I don't know, have the level 3 star t-shirt or certificate or badge, whatever it might be. So it is designed not only to help you reduce the admin if you do have a program in place, but also to open up new revenue opportunities for you. All right, I'm just going to come back over to my account over here. So that's the timetable. So any questions there, pop that into the chat and we can come back to that. The next thing I'm going to talk about over here is contacts. So this is your contact database. So think CRM, or in old school, think Excel spreadsheet. That's where you could make all the information about either your customers, your pupils, the parents, your instructors, anybody involved in the organization. So I can see here I've got 389 records, and I can filter the people that I see here by the products in which we sell. And I use that word products generically because if you're selling something, we generically call it a product. A product could be a class, it could be a beanie, it could be a leotard, it could be a pair of tap shoes, whatever it is, it's a product. So in here, I can filter down based on, I don't know, I just want to bring back the advanced people here. You see that's changed to 30 records. And if I select them, I can start to do some stuff with it. So communicate, which we saw before, so very easily you can just communicate with those people. Data, so I can see on a map where my customers come from. So this is a neat little marketing tool because it's going to put a marker on where your customers come from. So you might go, okay, well, actually, I've got loads of people around from this school here, but there's a school over here I get no customers from. Okay, I need to do a leaflet drop. I need to do some marketing with the school to bring in customers from this area here. So that's a neat little tool for you. And then from an administration, the administration around your renewals. Now, of course, if you're taking monthly payments, there's very little administration around that. The system is going to automatically every month generate an invoice, collect the payment, typically by direct debit, and it's going to reconcile those payments for you. So you don't need to do anything. It will just do that. But for you, for the dance schools that are running on a termly basis, you need to do the renewals. Now, I guess you guys know how much of a ball ache that can be. So there's 3 ways in which we manage those renewals. One way, which is, you'll probably love it, it's just automated. So the system will go, okay, the term is finishing before the end of term. The system will go, okay, I'm going to automatically renew everybody in that class for the next term. So as long as you've set up the schedule for your next term and it's at the same day, it's at the same time, the system can automatically renew people into that term. So you don't need to do anything. And if you've got some age restrictions going on, so it might be that these are kids no older than the age of 9, if anybody doesn't fall within your age limitations, it won't renew those people, but it'll renew everybody else. So you just don't have to do anything. And you can actually set your schedules up to run in perpetuity. So you set it, okay, this is the start date. The end date is actually, it's just, we call it a rolling schedule. It will just continue to roll on. What's quite nice as well is you can exclude school holiday dates. So if you don't run across the school holidays for whatever reason, you can put in those dates and it will exclude those. So that's automatic renewals. The 2 other ways is that we find is that some dance schools will just assume that if you was in that class last term, then you're going to be in it this term, and you just send them an invoice. So here, when you do that, we call it add to product. We say, okay, we're going to put you into the advanced street dance. This is the schedule. This is the price. And these are all pre-configured. And I'm going to put you into all calendar entries, specific ones, or from a certain date. And then I can decide, do I want to apply no charge or raise an invoice according to all the products settings, or raise an invoice for a fixed amount. So that's it. I just select my people, select what I want to do in terms of the schedules and the billing, click on submit, and then that will send out the invoices. So that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is to invite people along. So you don't make the assumption they're coming back. It is, hey guys, it's time to renew now for the next term. Again, you select your what you want to renew them to. You select the pricing, you select the schedule, and then you submit. So that sends an email out inviting them along. They'll log into their online account and they'll sign up for the new term. So those are the ways in which you manage your renewal. So I guess you can see certainly from those two ways how quick and easy it is. In the automated way, you just don't have to do anything at all. Okay, so a couple of other things to show you here. If I want to go into Gina's record, again, the same type of view that we saw from the timetable, seeing their information there. We can search for people based on the field criteria. So pick whatever field it is, and you've got different search options there. You can add a contact. So it might be a contact with the Guardian, somebody that you can add to the system. We call them like an offline person. They're never going to log in, they're never going to pay online. It's just an offline payment person, or you can add a staff member. So this is filtering by group, by product. You can auto filter by groups. So it might be that you've got, okay, we've just got some dummy stuff in there, but it might be that you set up a group for your instructors. So you keep all your instructors in that group. So then if you just want to send a message out to your instructors, you just filter by that group, select them, send them a message. And you can keep information about your instructors on the system. So in the same way that you can have additional registration fields for the people attending the class, for your instructors, it might be that you want their first aid certificate expiry date, their DBS expiry date, their coaching qualifications. You can create those custom fields on the system. All right, good. So we've looked at the shop, we've looked at the timetable, we've looked at the contacts. The next thing to look at is the reports. I'm actually going to just switch to another account that's just got some dummy data in that gives the reports a bit of context. So if I click into reports, these are the reports that we've got right now, but we're actually working on some other business intelligence reports. But if I click into financials, so sales invoice. So this is going to tell you what you've invoiced for a given period of time. So this is looking at May and April. It might be I want to extend that out to the last 3 periods. And I can look by day, by month, by week, etc. And then I can filter this based on everything that I sell. So if I just want to look at street dance, it will just bring back the information for street dance, for tap. And then from here, I can see what's been invoiced, what is outstanding and what's been received. And I can click on any of these numbers and it will show me the underlying information. So who's it for? What was it for? So you can get the real data that sits behind those numbers. That's what's been invoiced. This will tell you actually what's been paid and when. So what was paid today, this week, this month. And again, it gives you that, that number which you can click through and you can filter based on your different products. Then we've got any refunds you made through the system. If you're VAT registered, it will break out the VAT in there. Expense, so those are your transaction fees. I'll talk a bit more about the transaction fees towards the end. Reconciliation, sometimes you might have a payment query and you need to go from the point where somebody paid to the point where it hit your PayPal account or your bank account. This just gives you the reference IDs to connect the dots. Any disputes, so if somebody doesn't recognize the name on their PayPal account or their bank statement, this will help manage those. Age receivables, so this will show you who's outstanding and for what period of time. So here, Linda, £150 outstanding. There I can click in and I can see the detail again. We've got pending payments. So if you are taking payments by direct debit on a monthly basis, because direct debit takes a little while to go through the system, here it's going to tell you what's going to be paid out when. So from a cash flow perspective, it's nice to see actually on the 12th of May, I've got £579 going to be paid out. Here's those people that it's going to be paid out for. And I can see that in a graph format as well if I need to see that. Then we've got bestsellers. So if you want to see what's selling well, what's not selling well, you've got that. And then this one here just reports on the status of any direct debit mandates. So those are your financial reports. So this gives you that complete transparency of who owes what. Just to ensure absolutely nothing falls off the radar. And if you need to manage any exceptions, you've got the information to do that. We've got some other reports around communication. So what's been sent, open, deliver, bounce, any new customers that signed up, any renewals, if you've got membership, any subscriptions, any invitations. So those are the people that you're inviting to come along to the next term, and your attendance history as well. So the attendance history, I think I've got some information in there. Have a look. Classes. So I can either see that right at the top level, or I can drill down into the actual individual sessions as well. So it's very granular in the detail that you can get to, and it will tell you, when have they attended, what's their attendance percentage like. So yeah, you've got all the information you need in there. And we're also going to be working on some business intelligence reports, which is going to be stuff around retention. So what your retention rates look like, who's in risk of leaving, customer surveys, trial conversions, leaver analysis. So when people leave, what's the reasons that they leave? If you do an award scheme, where's the drop-off rate? So it might be that they get down to level 2 and then you start to see people leave. So a number of different reports really just to give you that insight into your business that you can start to make educated decisions on that have an impact on your revenues. Okay, come back to home. I'm going to stay in this dummy account for the moment because I'm just going to talk briefly about sales admin. So sales admin, I'll explain this, really broken down into 3 sections: orders, invoices, and payments. So an order is, before we create an invoice for somebody, we create an order. It's like a pre-invoice stage, if you like. And it just allows you to make changes. So if you're on a monthly billing and you want to make a change to the payment date or the amount, you can come in, you can make that. If you're on termly billing and you're queuing everything to go out, let's say 3 days before the end of term, and you want to come in and you want to make changes, you can do that before the invoice is created. If you are running, or if you're giving the option for people to register online, but you don't want to take payment right there and then, you want to approve them after they've been to a few sessions, here you can come in and you can approve orders. So it's kind of the pre-invoice stage. Then you've got the invoice stage. The invoice has been generated. So here we can see one that has been raised for David Beckham. It's pending. And then from here, I can cancel invoices if I need to. You can only cancel an invoice if it hasn't started going through the payment process. Or you can record offline payments. If they're paid by cash, you can put in what they paid, when they paid. You can also raise credits. You can raise credits up against people's accounts. So it might be that somebody got injured halfway through the term or halfway through the month and you want to raise a credit, you can raise a credit against their account. So that's invoices, and the last part there is the payment. So once somebody's paid, you might need to refund them. So you can come in and you can refund that person. So pretty straightforward, but yeah, it just gives you the tools to manage things on a day-to-day basis. All right, I'm going to switch back now to our Performing Arts and Dance Club. I'm going to go behind the orange button, and I'm going to talk really just about 2 things here mainly. One is products and one is schedules. So products is the things that you sell, and some of the things that you sell have a schedule attached to it. So your classes, you sell your class, you have a schedule for that, and we just connect the 2. So if I jump into products first of all, so I've got my different products down here, and depending on what you're selling will depend on the number of settings that apply to that product. So for example, if I'm just selling merchandise and it's just a drawstring bag, for example, I don't have a whole heap of settings. However, if I come into my street dance classes, then I have more settings because there's more things to configure. So just briefly, the down to a specific one. I've got the name, a picture. I can make it public or I can make it private. Pricing. So here it's £60 for the schedule. So this is for the term, but then I've also got £10 for a calendar entry, which is your trial pricing. Any discounts that, that can be applied, your billing and renewal. So here, this is going to be billed immediately. So it's not monthly. We want the money up front. And here I can say also, I want you to pro rata based on the number of calendar entries left. So if somebody joins partway through, I can have this as a pro rata the cost. I can say how I want to take payment. Now we have 3 payment providers. We have PayPal for card payments and PayPal wallet payments. We have London and Zurich and Go Cardless as our direct debit providers. Actually, for some reason, we haven't got PayPal set up on this dummy account, but you can say, okay, the first payment, so when somebody first joins us, I actually want that money instantly. So I want to take that payment by PayPal, but subsequent, and actually I don't have subsequent payments on here because this is a termly, but if you was a monthly, you want that first payment straight away and you want subsequent payments by direct debit. You can have that option. That's quite nice to have. So you can choose your different payment options for your different products you sell. So to give you another example, if you're selling merchandise, you'd only accept payment by card for that because you want the money instantly. Probably the same for events, you want that money instantly. But for stuff where actually you're going to be coming along for the next 12 weeks, I don't mind taking payment by direct debit. And when I say direct debit doesn't always have to mean recurring payments. You can take a single payment by direct debit as well. Okay, a couple of other things to look at here. So registration. So here you can select what registration form you want people to fill out when they do register for this product. And it might be that you have a registration form for children, you have a registration form for adults. So let's say, okay, this one is a a child class. I want them to fill out the child form. It might be I have 3 or 4 forms here, so I can just decide which one. Consent. So we've just got some pre-canned ones in here, but you can edit these, you can add your own. And we're just saying, okay, anybody that signs up for this, they must give us access to medical information. They must give us, well, you can decide whether you want to ask it or not, whether it's optional or whether it's required. So whatever it is that you want to do, you've got the options to do that there. Emergency contacts. So I need 2 emergency contacts when somebody signs up for this class. Any product relationships. So if you buy this, we also recommend you buy that. So for example, when you sign up to this class, we also recommend that you buy these tap shoes, for example. But you can also make that mandatory. If you buy this, you must buy that. So if you buy this class, you must buy the membership. Any age restrictions. So you can set your parameters there. Capacity, so your class capacity. And then waiting lists. We haven't really talked about waiting lists yet, but the system can manage waiting lists for you automatically. So if the class is full, you can decide whether you want a waiting list. So when somebody goes to your online account, when somebody goes to your online shop and that class is full, they can add themselves to the waiting list. But then what do we want to happen after that point? So you can decide what your waiting list, your automated waiting list strategy is. So the system can work on a first in, first out basis. So when a space becomes available, the system will automatically go to the next person on the list and say, hey, space is available. Would you like to take the option for that space? And you can define the amount of time, you might want to give them a day, 2 days to respond. And then if they don't respond, then the system will just move on to the next one, then the next one, then the next one. Or the other option is broadcast to all. So you can just have the system go, okay, space is available. I've got 50 people on the waiting list, sends it out to 50 people and it's the first one across the line. Or you can just manage them manually. So up to you what you want to do. You can also define the size of your waiting list. So I see some clubs, or in the kind of gymnastics space, they'll have an open-ended waiting list. There could be 1,000 people on the waiting list. Or chaps driving and got a beard by the time a space becomes available. So you can be sensible and say, look, you know what, it's only going to be 5. Trials, we did talk about trials earlier on. So first of all, you can set that trial limit. So those are actually I only want a maximum of 3 people in this trialing in this class, so it doesn't unbalance the class. You can say the number of days that they can reserve. You want to reserve that space for that person post trial, and the number of days in advance the user can sign up for the trial. We saw that earlier on. And then restrict the number of trials that can be purchased by one for a person. We can just restrict that to 1. So can they buy multiple trials, or can they just buy 1 trial? So yeah, some great automation around those 2. I know that that could take up a lot of admin time. Okay, so those are the most relevant ones there. So those are my settings to set up a class. Couple of other things to show you here. So if I click on schedules, so I can see this is the schedule for the class. And if I click on that, it's pretty similar, right, to Outlook or Google Calendars, but with a couple more whistles and bells on there. So first of all, this is my schedule and I'm linking it to this class. This one here, it's on a Monday from 5:30 to 6:30. It starts on the 18th of November and it runs until the same time next year. But as I mentioned earlier on, we can just have this rolling schedule, so that just runs in perpetuity. We can set up those exclusions. We talked about that. That's your school dates. You can exclude that from the schedule. You can put in address information. You can decide whether the user can choose a start date. And I'm saying, okay, well, if they can choose a start date, I only want them to be able to pick 7 days in advance. So there's nothing too magical about the schedules. It's yeah, it's fairly straightforward. And a couple of other things to show you up here. Permissions. So actually, I don't have any managers or any coaches set up on here, but if I did, I'd be able to select which coaches can access the class. So when they log in, they only see that class. And if I come over here to the actual schedules tab, I can see what I've got going on a calendar view basis. I can see my capacity and my attendance. I can see my waiting lists. I can click through to that. So I need to click that. Come back over here. I can see a planner view of what I've got going on. So I think your wall chart planner shows you what you've got going on across the year. You can see it in that view. Yeah, you've got that waiting list view as well. You've got nobody sitting on the waiting list, and those custom calendars, which is where you can set up your exclusions for your holidays. So yeah, those are your schedules. And then just briefly, a couple of other things: communication. So you can set up your templates. You can set up a header and footer for your emails. Your data. This is simply where you can build those online forms. So this is your your form for your child or your form for your adults, and it's just very much a drag and drop form builder. Groups, you can set up your groups. We talked about groups earlier on. So groups for your coaches. So if I want to add somebody into a group for whatever reason, it might be let's just add these people into the group. These might be coaches that I'm adding into there. There, we're done. There's my coaches into a group. You can also use groups also for things like discounts. So if you have a hardship discount, you can actually say, okay, everybody in this group, I'm going to apply a hardship discount to. So when they get to a checkout, the system will automatically know, okay, you're in this group, we're going to apply this discount. And you can also use it to put roles and permissions on a group basis. So I might have 50 instructors in my group, and I want to give them all access to the coaching staff functionality. So rather than have to do that on an individual basis, I can just go, everyone in that group, turn that on, they've got the right access now. And yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. You have a dashboard as well. I'm not sure I've actually got any data in this one, but yeah, I've got a little bit, actually no, not much data in there, but yeah, we have the dashboard that just gives you that visualization of some of the metrics. One dashboard. So registrations, future purchase orders, sales performance, sales settlement, sales invoicing, your VAT, your transaction fees, any disputes, etc. So yeah, it's just a nice way to visualize some of the information in your account. Okay, so to talk about the pricing, so we work on a transactional base. So when somebody pays your organization online, we apply a transaction fee, and that's how we get paid. So we don't have any license fees, we don't have any training fees, setup fees. We do have a setup deposit, which I'll talk about in a bit, but principally we charge for our system with transaction fees. So when somebody pays online, at the point in which the funds are settled, we deduct our fees and we deduct the fees of our payment partners. And the fees vary depending on your status as an organization. So whether you're a not-for-profit or whether you're a commercial operation, that has an impact on some of our partner fees. But also the type of payment you take. So for example, direct debit is typically cheaper than card payments. So the fees range from 2.5% plus VAT for direct debit, up to, I think it's about maximum about 5% for car payments for commercial operations. So you'll sit somewhere within those ranges. But if you want to find out more about those prices, then we'd be very happy to have that conversation with you, because it's not just always about the pricing, it's actually what payment provider is right for you. But then also thinking, okay, you're probably thinking, okay, this is going to cost me money on each transaction, but from a business perspective, we should probably be thinking, okay, well, going back to that principle of, okay, if it costs me £1, but it makes me £2, or if it costs me £1 and it saves me 100 hours a month on admin, you can start to justify some of the costs there. Also, just to mention that many of the organisations, 1,000+ organisations that we work with, also manage costs in other ways as well. So it might be that you'll make a small increase in your cost of the fee. So in effect, the parents are paying for the system when they're paying for their child, or you put the fees on top of your fees. So very much in the same way as when you go and book a ticket for a concert or a gig or a theatre, you have that booking, that service fee. You can do that as well. So again, the parents pay for the fee. As for the setup deposit, so the setup deposit is just your commitment to using the system, because when we work with you, we spend a fair bit of time learning about your operation, setting your system up to match the way that you operate. We provide training at the outset. We provide ongoing telephone support. We're very much service focused here. We're not just a website, and you'll never be able to speak to us. You'll absolutely be able to speak to us. We have a team here in Brighton that you'll just be able to pick up the phone to and speak to. So you'll always receive that 5-star customer service. But because we invest a lot of that time up front, we just ask for a deposit from you guys, and that's 0.5% of your estimated transaction volume in the first year. So if there's a dance school you turn over, say £30,000, it would be a deposit of £150. Now you get that back once you go live, when you agree to go live, and once you've generated twice as much in LoveAdmin fees as you paid in deposit. So let's say your deposit is £150, and when you generate £300 of LoveAdmin fees in the first 6 months, then you get that deposit back. We're not here to make money out of deposits, not interested in that at all. It's just so that you're committed to using the system when we're setting that system up for you. And just to mention there, actually, we have a minimum of £100 deposit and a maximum of £500. Because we work on that transaction base only, we tend to work with organisations that transact over £10,000, because we make a fairly small margin. It's 2.5% is our fees. So it's commercially difficult to work with smaller organisations because the amount of time and therefore money that we invest into you, there is a significant cost to that. So if you're some dance schools that maybe are only doing £1,000, £2,000, well, of course we would only be generating £20, £30 of fees a year. It just doesn't make it feasible. So there does become a point in which we have to say, unfortunately, we'd love to help you, we can't right now. We are actually working on some what's on the roadmap, where you'll be able to self-onboard yourself if you're a smaller organisation, and that way that we can keep the cost down for you to use the system. But we're just not quite there yet. So at the moment, we're just working with organisations that are transacting over 10k. Good. I feel like I've spoken for an awful lot there. So Any questions out there that anybody is?
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to ask Dave was about waiting lists, but you've covered that. So that was the one I had noted down after a member sent me a message, but no, that's very thorough. So I don't have anything on my list to ask.
I think that I just wanted to ask a question. I think this is quite relevant to a lot of dance schools, in that a lot of people use spreadsheets at the moment, and they're kind of worried about making that move, I think, over to software. And I don't know if they know sort of how much easier it is using software. So why would you recommend your software over using spreadsheets, basically?
Yeah, so I guess you would have, and we see this all the time, you'll have spreadsheets for everything. You'll have a spreadsheet for your registers, which you'll probably then create paid registers from. You'll have a spreadsheet for your payments. You might have a spreadsheet for your award schemes. You might be copy and pasting emails from a spreadsheet into Outlook or to Gmail, or maybe you're using MailChimp and you've got to always sync the two. So you have information sitting in several spreadsheets, and of course that normally sits on one person's machine, and one person is the sole administrator. So there's a certain amount of risk involved in having information sitting on with one person in one person's head. So our system, it brings all your data points together, all your data together, brings it into one central place, puts it in the cloud that you can access, that your number two can access, that your instructors can access. So there's not that single point of failure. But also by having all your information in one place, you can just see how well it then connects all the functions that you've got to do. You're not working in silos. Everything you do is in one place. The parents have their own online accounts, so when they're making changes, that's updating your information. So you're not having to do that work for them. So that removes the reliance on you as well. So it just makes everything much more efficient, having everything in one space.
I think that's absolutely spot on. I'd also add that I appreciate it can be a bit scary making that transition from spreadsheets, as you become very familiar with your processes, and then making a change can be a bit daunting. But as Dave mentions, the team here help sort of bespoke build your account. You provide the information, and then we work with you to build out your classes and your members in the way that you see fit. So yeah, it sort of takes that sort of anxiety out of that change and that transition, which can be a bit daunting for some people. But yeah, good question, Sam.
Yeah, I think that's definitely relevant. I know a lot of the people on my page will probably still be using spreadsheets, and we're getting to that point now, especially with like the making tax digital side of things from an accounting point of view. That's all having to go online now, which is obviously, yeah, that's a huge area from my point of view. So I think it's kind of making people think that they do need to start automating their admin side as well. So yeah, that's a great answer.
So just one point on that, Sam, on our roadmap is the API integration with Xero and other accounting packages. So the information that you'd have in LoveAdmin can automatically pass through to Xero. So I know that would make the accountant's life a lot easier.
Yes. Yeah. Is that something you do now then, is it?
No, it's on the roadmap.
Okay, that's lovely. No, that's good to know that, because yeah, I think a lot of the systems for dance schools, they're all just very sort of, you can download reports and that's it sort of thing. None of them at the moment are integrated, so that would be a great feature.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, lovely. Right,
Thank you, Sam.
That's all right. I think I have picked up everyone's questions. Is there anything else you want to go over, Dave, or is that all good? And James?
Oh, that's great. Just to thank you for the opportunity, Sam, to share it amongst your community, because you've built a fantastic group here. So yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. So a lot of people probably will end up watching this later rather than now. So, but if you guys have got any questions, put them on the group. I know James is in the group anyway, so he'll be happy to help you with anything. And yeah, thank you very much, guys. And brilliant.
Good. Thanks, Sam.
Brilliant.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.